two things that come to mind in regards to what you just mentioned regarding the statue, and then also regarding the connection with the past and bringing those successful players back onto campus. The latter portion of that, bringing the players back onto campus, having them show up for events, spring game, actual games in the fall, all of that seems obvious. That like you don't have to have half a brain to understand. We are trying to attract attention. We are trying to show recruits that we turn football players into successes at the next level. That your best example of that, case in point, boom, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray. We could go on down the line, of course. CeeDee Lamb. There you go. Let's bring the stars back and show what you could become. That seems like the obvious endorsement.
Yeah, no, you absolutely would think so, Mark. And I think, we talked a little bit about this, before we came on, but there's a lot of different feel to what this Oklahoma program is about right now than where it was. I think it's much more about the relationships that not only that Brent Venables and the staff is forging with the current team, but some of the relationships that he's had previously with some of those kids when obviously he was at Oklahoma. So I think just the fact that a lot of these guys are talking about how much they want to be part of the program, again, want to come back for this, is it's yes, it is a no-brainer. You would think that would be something that would have happened in the previous regime, and I don't necessarily know, Mark, that they weren't necessarily, involved or are allowed to be back, but I don't think it's at the level that it is now. I think it's more of a family type of culture than it has been in the past. And so you can see that with some of the things that some of the interviews and things that Venables has talked about, just early on, even before, some of this stuff happens, in terms of getting spring practice and all that going. And so, yeah, it's a much different, a different feel, but I think it's always a great, situation, something that's very, that recruits see that you're bringing back these past players. They're involved, not just coming to games, but they're involved. They're on the sidelines. They're, they feel part of the action, which is something, like I said, something that's been missing for this program for the last 4 or 5 years.
And then, Jason, with the unveiling of the statue of Baker Mayfield, what comes to mind, and this is not important, and it's petty for anyone that processes this, but comes to mind that, okay, Baker Mayfield gets a statue. Who else deserves a statue? I'm sure there's conversation out there, if not debate, as to, well, if he deserves a statue, who else deserves a statue? Who makes that determination? Is there some kind of set criteria? There's 7 Heisman Trophy winners, for one thing. So just that came to mind in regards to, okay, that was the first thing that came to mind. I saw that news and I thought, okay, Baker Mayfield gets a statue. I get it. He had a legendary career, but who does and does not have statues at Oklahoma? That list could be pretty long.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Mark, to see how this kind of goes through the years. Right now the area where these statues are up is called Heisman Park around Oklahoma. So right now it's very specific to the previous Heisman winner. So to your point, I think Kyler Murray would logically have the next one. But yeah, I think it would be interesting at some point if Oklahoma decided to go out a little bit in terms of moving that to not just Heisman, but more some of the great All-Americans that have been at Oklahoma. I'm sure that comment kind of hurts you.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I'm sure this comment on the banner is bringing up bad memories.
Yes, it brings up some bad memories of a game that I thought was going to go in the win column for the other team. But considering what had happened the year before and just where I thought the teams were at that point, but Oklahoma and Baker Mayfield obviously gave a butt kicking, especially in the fourth quarter, as a 1-point Ohio State lead sometime in the fourth quarter. And then Oklahoma took it from there, 31-16. And yes, Baker Mayfield, Okie had a nice, rather amusing comment there that the criteria for planning or for the statue unveiling is, of course, planting a flag, which, to be technical, he couldn't plant the flag because it's artificial turf. It just kind of like dropped as soon as he hit the turf. But yeah, that was a big win for OU and Bob Stoops in 2017.